Curtis, CJ, almost a unique profile for me in the sense of everyone knows about his ball retention. He does a job. I almost feel like sometimes people have looked at him, maybe Slot, as the fourth one, although we've seen Slot happy to play four midfielders in recent big games, which is a bit of a change from what we saw earlier in the season. The only thing is, sometimes it felt like maybe Curtis was almost, as they call it in baseball, the relief pitcher, be it for Szoboszlai or to change it a bit when McAllister a bit tired. I am intrigued to see what tale the stats paint of Curtis Jones's season. And there's been a few injuries in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's played. When I was doing this for you, I was looking at Curtis and I was like, wow, he's only started 20 games.
Yeah.
That's a mark different, and also goes back to our point up. Grab started 17 more games in him.
Yeah,
that's a huge amount of minutes difference. We'll talk about CJ. And he's starting here, down here, but he's only started 20 games. If you look at where is he at? So because of that, he's got short of 1,200 touches, right? Which that isn't that far off Dom, to be honest with you, considering they've got quite a big difference in their starts. Penalty box touches, he's got 67, which is very close to Mac. Total shots 31, less than Mac, but again he's played less, so that's actually fairly good. Penalty box shots, so he gets in the box at 22. He's got 3 goals. Okay, he's got 3.83 xG, and he's threat 3.42. So he's actually got the best threat to xG conversion at 112%, and he's played the less games.
Yeah.
So that almost harks back to, you remember when he was an academy kid? He was a 10 or he was wide left, right? So I think when Curtis gets in the right areas, he does just go back to muscle memory and sort of plays. The number, I think was it last season, the West Ham goal he scored, where he just slalomed through. Yeah. And he's seen him do a couple of times this year as well. So I think he has that natural ability built in. It's just the other stuff he spent ages learning under Klopp that's now coming to fruition. Slot's using to his advantage. Attempted passes 874, so under the 1,000 mark. But the key thing here is 93% pass success.
Jeez.
That's Curtis. And people might get annoyed about he doesn't release, doesn't do this. But to have that ability, he doesn't give the ball away. I can't stress you how important that is. And the times he comes on is Bournemouth away, for example. Prime example, the game was, we were 1-0 up. It was a bit rocky. Curtis comes on, keeps the ball for fun. We scored a second and we see the game out. It's just Everton nearly did the same thing, bar a ridiculous referee decision. But do you know what I mean? It's very similar. Giroud comes on, just keep the ball. Just keep the ball for us. And that's what he can do. His long ball rate is one of the lowest out of all the midfielders because he just doesn't. It's just tick, 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 keep the ball. Because he doesn't start that often, he is probably going to have the lowest win rate. It's at around 60. All right, so they go down by kind of 10, if you like. Yeah. Ryan's is the highest. Mac's not far off. Dom's then down at around 70, and Curtis is around 60. If we look at what we can see when Curtis is on the pitch, though. That is 18 goals conceded, and we score 42. So if we convert that the same way, he actually doesn't come out. He comes at 0.9 goals conceded when he's on the pitch and 2.1 scored when he's on the pitch, which is very, very similar to a bit of Grab and a bit of Dom. Right? So it's sort of, and that probably is him. He's a bit of a hybrid. He can play the Dom's bit and he can play next to Grab or back next to Mac. So that kind of gives you top level stuff. Let's have a look about where he actually plays. So where does he take his passes from? I can get there. It's at the bottom. Here you go. So very similar box. Same box, makes most of his passes. All right, that's fine. He's involved, a bit like Grab, involved in nearly everything, not quite involved in the high, but he's involved in nearly all of the long possession stuff in terms of medium. If we look at his progressive stuff, left half space dominant, because that's when he's playing for Dom, he plays that side rather than the right. but he's also happy to be in and around zone 14. And the number of red arrows gives you an indication of how many progressive passes that he makes.
Wow.
And that's higher than most of the other players around it. Just to give you an idea about chain length, or Curtis. So he is average chain length for Curtis is involved in in the middle level. So that's not bad. Okay, he's kind of a good profile with the rest of it. It's just that kind of hybrid kind of player, if that makes sense. If we look at where is he dual rate, again, there's 3 profiles. So he's got a 50% dual rate. He's got a 45% aerial rate, pass rate 94. But when he goes and plays further up the pitch, his pass rate is still 90. He's got a 60% dual rate when he plays as an attacker, which is incredible. Penalty box, what's he got there? 65, which considering he's not played as many games as the other, is nearly as much as Dom as a midfielder. When he played as a forward, it was barely anything, but he had a 66% dual rate, 100% aerial rate, and an 83% pass rate. So that gives you an idea about who Curtis is. Who does Curtis pass the ball to? Ryan, that's his 6.
Yeah.
Andy, Robbo on the left, he's captain. And then he is finding Diaz or Mo on fairly balanced occasions, with Mac and Trent being the ones. But again, look at that 100, 95, 99, 98, 98, 98, 100% pass rate. It's just, that's kind of what you want. 0.4 threat between him and Mo. Again, although that's probably one of his lowest passing combinations, he still created 0.4 threat when he passes to Mo. I mean, some of it's going to be Mo being brilliant, but still, that's Curtis is doing it to show that. Because Curtis is a hybrid, he will look like a bigger area. This is him on the ball. So he does the front journey on the left-hand side. He's off the ball, but he's a bit more down and right. That's what he's playing at it. So, there are some things to know. Threat, what does he generally do? You'll get a mixed picture because he's hybrid. But still left-hand dominant. Second half, particularly when he's sort of 20% in that left half space, that area. First half, 20% in the sort of left half space. So operating in that left half space, pretty much 25%. Sorry. So very, very left dominant. But again, that's where he's asked to play. Whereas Dom, when he plays over his right side, we look at his off the ball for Curtis. So again, first half, he has a bit of I think he just does a bit following it around a bit. It's just Dom, when he's played up there, he's got a bit right, bit left. Second half, he'll drop in and help Bill out on off the ball down in the right back slot. So, I think him being a hybrid helps, I think, him with game time, but equally, does it help him with his identity? I'm not sure. He's also very active in the period straight after half time. He says the threat and XG. You can look at where he takes his shots, mostly central, and 2 in the penalty box. He's the most attacking out of our midfielders, to be honest with you, because I think Mac had 1 in the penalty box, all the rest haven't. So, as in the 6-yard box, sorry. So I think Curtis is a good player. Does he have his... he doesn't have limitations. Has he been conditioned to play a certain way? Yes. Does he cover 2 roles? Yes, you can see in the vids, he's a bit of that and he's a bit of this. But he does a role for the side. Whether he'll ever become one of the main midfield starters, I don't know. But I think it'd be very interesting to see where the slot cap in future games plays 4 midfielders. Champions League could be some of them games.
It's such an interesting one because you could just pick stats there, and go, only 20 starts, only a win rate of 60% against other ones who've got a 20% higher win rate. So there's that. But then when you put it in the mix, it's almost because of his uniqueness, because of that hybrid element. And like you said, a 93% pass success rate, and pretty much that maintains in all the positions you put him in. That is just outrageous. It really is. The high progressiveness, as you also called out around that, and the dual rate almost when he plays higher up. It just almost he has to be in the squad and he has to be used at times based on those stats, doesn't he?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's one of those incredibly unlucky. I think you're always lucky if you're a local lad playing for Liverpool, obviously, but he is kind of the 12th man, right? Kind of like even Klopp's Grace's side had a 12th player that was just not quite good enough to be in the side. Would have been one of the midfielders there as well, I imagine. So yeah, I think he's just unlucky. He'll start some and he's not, and I think he's made more starts this season than the previous season. He's probably got more minutes, slightly some injuries, but it's a good role to have. And he's got his England call-ups now as well. He's starting to get that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. But certainly, I think he's a key member of our squad. If you go back to your FIFA, what's his squad role? I'd say it wasn't quite crucial, but it was important because he plays in a lot of the games.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think it's also fair to say he is one of the 4 key midfielders in a team that is 13 points clear at the top of the Premier League, tops the Champions League group table, and who knows what they could end up with. So, yeah, we don't need to sort of bring that down at all. And these next two, this is going to sound hard.